Get Heavy Podcast, hosted by Craig Casamas and John Scheimer.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast. Joining you on this beautiful, hot-ass evening. It has been hot lately. Anyway, Scheimer ain't going to make it tonight. He's got caught up doing some work stuff. But tonight I have one of my older friends from the Ventura Nardcore Scene, Mr. Joe Rivas, of fame, Burning Dog, one of the classic bands from back in the mid-'90s Nardcore days, and now currently in Out of Trust. Co-host of the 185 Miles South podcast, and a general awesome motherfucker. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. Hey. Hi. How are you?
Good, man. It was nice.
I don't know that I'm a. I just real quick to fix that. I'm not co-host.
Oh yeah. Okay.
On the podcast, it's all Zach's podcast, and then
Right.
he has me and sometimes other people as guest hosts.
Oh, okay. So
guest spots.
Yeah.
I just
believe me. I don't want to piss Zach off. You
don't want him
mowing the lawn on you or picking up canes or any of that shit.
Right. No, but yeah. So I'm on a lot of them because I got a lot of fucking free time, and he's one of my favorite people. So I love doing that thing with him.
Right, man.
Lately we've been exploring a bunch of new music, so stuff that I'm not exactly out of touch, but there's how much music there is. There's so much stuff.
So much, man.
And so if you're not into those things, then they just kind of pass you by. So he's been feeding me this stuff, and we're gonna do a new one for this.
That's cool. Like a newer band.
The best records of 2020 up for the first 7 months.
And it's all based in Nardcore, or is it just hardcore?
No. Just
nice.
hardcore in general.
The genre of hardcore, which is something that actually I wanted to, kind of talk to you about. I mean, the original, there was always this debate back when we were kids. It's like, what is fucking hardcore? You know what I mean? Like, hardcore is started as what, your Minor Threats, your, all that stuff, and then it morphed into this other side of what hardcore is, which all has it. It all is a linear, evolution essentially. But the hardcore, when people say it to me, I think of Minor Threat, I think of Bad Brains, I think of that stuff. But a lot of what's referred to now is your, we'll call them, for lack of a better term, tough guy hardcore bands, which doesn't seem to be much of a thing anymore. Maybe it is. I might just be out. But how is your version of like hardcore like developed over the years?
So I think the term started being used for like Black Flag, Bad Brains, of course, those earlier bands that separated them because they were still punk, but it just separated them a little bit from
the shitheads.
No. It's that version of punks, and they called it hardcore, and it separated it from like the Ramones and the Talking Heads and Iggy and the Stooges and like all that stuff.
The classic version of punk rock, essentially.
The early version of that New York stuff. And so then there was this hardcore, which was like a heavier, bitier edge to it,
But also like lyrical content too, right? I mean,
I think
that had a lot to do with it,
The messages stuff started coming. Crass in the 80s or the 70s was already, had message. Message-driven music, more so than, a bunch of those English bands, the Clash and the Sex Pistols, and,
they were politically minded, but I'm talking more like when it came to like, I don't know, it was weird. It was almost like the shift, and it almost seemed to me that, when they started, like, especially like when Minor Threat came out, and they were like, look, dude, we're making our own lane, we're digging our own groove here. We don't get fucked up like all the rest of the punks. You know what I mean? All that stuff, like that stuff really started to speak to like almost like it was like a cultural shift from, yes, Crass was political. There's a lot of political punk bands back then, but that even was its own genre, I felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you could be a punk
was.
band, and then there was the political punks, but then the hardcore scene came up, and they were kind of like a mix of both almost.
Yeah.
With just like harsher music, you know what I mean?
Right.
It felt it feels like to me.
Yeah. As with any genre, as it progresses, people start to make all these niches, like, okay, like let's take speed metal, for example, or metal, right? There's Black Sabbath, and those early what we'll call heavy metal bands, and then it evolved, and then there's the first wave of British heavy metal, or the new wave of British heavy metal, I guess, right? Judas Priest and all that stuff, and then in the 90s or the 80s, and then it just gets in split. So then there's speed metal and thrash metal, and like all of these crossover, and like all this, hardcore did, punk rock did the same thing, where it just became all these genres. And that's why, when in the 90s, then it was like, oh, you listen to that kind of punk, oh, you're not cool like us, because you don't, you're not into what we're into. Which sucked.
So what was it? Obviously, you're like a massive audiophile. You always know music. I mean, I know you say you're out of touch stuff, and there's people that obviously have their finger closer to the pulse than we do. But I'm always so impressed at your like knowledge of the history of punk rock and hardcore, and even what's going on now and stuff like that.
Oh,
record?
Party foul. See?
Look at that here. I was trying to rep the Nardcore comp that just came out. I just got my copy. My band Dad Brains is on it. Stoked about that. So there you go.
Yeah.
Happy to be part of that shit, dude.
I did some backups on that song.
I didn't even have any part in recording it, so it was perfect.
It was just me and Pat did those backups, but they sound so like crazy loud, like yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I
There you go. So what was it that drew you into the early punk rock and hardcore stuff back in the day?
Yeah, so I grew up, I turned 49 in September. So
49?
Yeah, I'm old.
Damn, bro, I didn't know you were that old.
Yeah. My brother Davi just turned 50 last month, so we're 14 months apart. So so I grew up in the 70s, with fucking disco and the beginning of breakdancing music and all that stuff, Burn Rubber and the Gap Band and all that stuff. And that new wave British heavy metal stuff. Now, there wasn't MTV just yet, but the videos were like, you could catch them here and there, and like different programs would have stuff. Like you could buy like my mom worked at Radio Shack for years, so you could buy from Radio Shack like these put together VHS tapes that had a bunch of stuff, so like Ozzy and all kinds of shit like that,
Yeah.
So I was really into that early metal stuff. Mm-hmm. He used to take white T-shirts, and like my mom had these fabric pens. They were like a toothpaste roll with a tip on it that then you could draw on the.
yeah, for sure.
So we would get like Circus Magazine or like any of those, like those early Hip Parader and like the early metal magazines or Guitar World or whatever, and figure out what the logo looked like for the band and then write it on our shirts.
Right.
But we looked like fucking NASCAR because we had like every band possible like on our.
You were like the pre-Sharpie punks, dude.
Like fifth and sixth grade, my brother and I, when we were doing all this, and
you growing up in Oxnard, right? Which is in
South Side.
Yeah, so, exactly. Wasn't a real common thing back then, probably.
No, it wasn't. And then my best friend since kindergarten is John Winstead, who's also in Burning Dog with me later on. We've known each other more of our life than not, so but yeah, so the four of us, and then there were a couple other kids that were into that stuff, and then we got into skateboarding, right? And then we had this one older friend, this guy Tracy Brooks, that he was somehow related to somebody in Aggression, and so then we started getting these Aggression demos and stuff,
right?
And that was very especially with the song Intense Energy. So that was very skateboard oriented. So it was like, oh, well, this is what we're going to listen to now.
Absolutely, man.
So we just
for skating.
We just kind of phased the metal stuff out. At least some of it, Sabbath always remained, the important ones
never die.
yeah, the important ones stayed around, and then everything else just kind of disappeared. I've revisited a bunch of it since, but just as kids, like you just want to focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
So that's how we got into the early punk, and then we realized that that these guys, aggression specifically, and then Ill Repute and Dr. No and like all these things, and we're seeing spray paint shit everywhere. Walk on our walk to school, to junior high school. We went to Blackstock. You kind of walk up Bard, if anybody's familiar with Oxnard. You walk up Bard from where we lived on Terrace. So the railroad tracks, it's maybe half a mile, but that whole, like, both sides of the thing, it's track houses on both sides of the street.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just giant, 8-foot, 9-foot brick wall. Mm-hmm. Perfect for fucking spray paint.
Every band's logo on earth.
Yeah. And it's the whole way, the whole half mile to school. Awesome, was like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we learned that these guys live close to us in our town. And Israel from False Confession. So Israel was my brother's best friend when we were in grade school. When he was in grade school, was Israel's little brother Joey. Mm-hmm. So we had that connection. Plus Israel, like, we were raised Roman Catholic. So my mom had us going to church all the time. We were altar boys.
Nice.
Picture that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
And Israel was an altar.
It's sexy when I picture it.
Yeah. No priest touched us. So.
No, you sure? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Or is that what they paid you to say, Joe?
Yeah, I'm part of the conspiracy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just we had these friends around and realized that this music is accessible to us. Mm-hmm. Now you take that and then our history, like our dad is like this phenomenal guitarist.
Oh, okay.
My dad plays he plays all kinds of stuff, but his favorite stuff is like Spanish classical and like bluegrass.
Oh wow.
Because that finger dexterity is like,
it's
like
so far above my pay scale, dude. I can't do it.
That's the top. He didn't dislike jazz, but that was too it just wasn't as accessible to him mentally.
It's not to me either now.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I'll never slag it, but it's just like most of the time I just don't get it. But bluegrass, you can there's a emotion and a feel and a swing, and you get interested in it. Yeah. And then you get that dexterity stuff going, and you're like, geez, man. Mm-hmm. So we grew up with that, and then my mom played dulcimer. Actually, I have it right here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's badass.
It's locked in there. That's my mom's old dulcimer. Joni Mitchell and stuff like that. Buffy St. Marie, all that kind of stuff. But then my mom's dad, Bob Boland, is I'm not gonna say he's super famous or anything like that, but he was at least locally, in Lancaster, because I was born in Lancaster.
Oh damn, really?
Yeah,
Me and you, huh?
Yeah, I'm an
AV watch kid. Out. I'm a desert rat too.
Yeah, we moved to Oxnard when I was 4.
Isn't that weird? The Ventura Oxnard desert connection is so weird, man. You know what I mean? Because I grew up out in like Trona and Rosamond, and
yeah.
Right. I grew up a little bit in Lancaster. I didn't live in Lancaster much, but I lived right on the outskirts there. It's just
we
so
lived.
Odd, man,
We lived 20th Street East, between J and K.
Yep.
And
so my grandma lives now.
And on a street called Gingham, which was like Avenue L, like 10th Street.
Okay.
Kind of by 10th Street East. And then my John. See, I wish John was here because John and I are sort of.
That's what he told me, that you guys are like cousins. Yeah. You found out you're cousins.
We're sort of cousins. We're in a Antelope Valley kind of way.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. My mom's brother, my Uncle Bob, married this lady, Mona. Mm-hmm. Mona is John's dad's first wife's sister.
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah. So because John's got a brother and sister.
Yeah.
And then they split up, and then John's dad married John's mom, or I don't know if they're married or not. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but John and I didn't ever put that together because
Right.
we didn't really meet each other until we were adults, like early 2000s or something like that.
Yeah.
And then my Aunt Mona like posted something, and she's like, "Hey, I know a Shimer," and John's like, "Yeah, you're my Aunt Mona." It's like, wait a minute, you're Aunt Mona. It's my Aunt Mona.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's a small world, man. Like I said, that Lancaster Ventura connection is so tight, man. I mean, there's so many people that it must be just it's the closest, easiest beach to get to.
Yeah, well,
I don't know, but even my old man, like my cousin, I guess they're my second, Raging R, Ross and Toby are my dad's actual cousins.
Oh, really?
So they're like my second cousins. I've known them my whole. I mean, Ross and Toby put a bass in my hand when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Toby taught me Louie Louie and sent me on my way. You know what I mean? So that's like Raging R was like my first concert I ever went to. So my ties have always been here and there. And then when we moved out here when I was about 10 or whatever.
Right.
Obviously, as soon as and the through point is really skateboarding. You know what I mean?
Right.
I used to ride motorcycles when I was a kid. You get out here, you can't ride motorcycles for shit, but you can skateboard. So I started skating, and that's when my world opened up musically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was through skate videos, through skate, promos.
Yeah, I forgot about the videos. Yeah, we would hear, Bones of Brigade, you'd hear, Youth Brigade, and all kinds of stuff like that. You would hear all that stuff in those videos too. I forgot all about that, but yeah.
But how exciting is that when you're a kid and you're starting to get into a new music and you realize that there is an insane amount of good music in your 7 square blocks, that you live in or whatever. Like that's so exciting,
That ruled for us, and it made it, accessible. That's the great thing about punk rock in general. Whatever niche that you play it, it's accessible. Anybody can do it.
Right. You didn't need to go to fucking years of music school and be taught classical, blah blah blah. None of that.
Right.
Any asshole that wanted to try hard enough could learn 3 chords and go for it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and it might not be good at first.
You're not.
But if you keep at it, it ends up being good.
Yeah.
I mean, and it might not ever be sonically or like song structure. You shouldn't have gone to A minor there. What who cares?
Right.
Did you have fun doing it? And did you make somebody smile while you were doing it? That's that's the key to me. You
got to release some energy.
Yeah.
Not only that, the chance to just be creative is.
Yeah.
I say it a lot, but none of us, we're so lucky to have that, dude. A lot of people don't have any of that. They don't have any hobbies. They don't have any fucking clue what they actually like. You know what I mean? And for a bunch of dumb kids to be able to pick up instruments and figure out how to get along long enough to write a fucking full set. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. It's just cool. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm 49 next month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm not gonna start playing like that. It's like music is my life. It's the other thing that I do aside of being having a job and being a married guy, and having my son and all that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I know. And I'm not great at it, but I have fun doing it, and I get to hang out. I get to hang out with my friends, and there's parents, other people's parents, other kids. Like, they hit me up, like, hey, what do you think we should? Do you think we should teach our son music or our daughter music? Oh, absolutely. And being in a band is like the best.
It's one of the unrivaled feelings in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
be able to jump up and perform something in front of people that you've written, you know what I mean? Or even learned how to play,
There's all that.
Cool,
there's, Yeah, there's all that too. But what I was thinking is like nothing teaches you how to interlock with people better
Right.
than being in a band, because you have to listen, you have to pay attention, you have to, you have to contribute your piece of it. You have to realize that okay, well, I'm playing too much or too loud or too this or too that. I should lay back, or I should do more. Or,
Yeah.
and you get this synergy with people to learn how to incorporate yourself in the world.
Totally.
Being in a band rules.
A lot of that stuff translates to, if you're the type of person that, writes something and can't get out of your own way enough for someone else to contribute, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go that far. You know what I mean? You have to learn to work together. And like when I would play in any band I was ever in, whatever serves the song works. You know what I mean? Like, so if someone had an idea, then I didn't see it. You know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, well, fucking, we got to try it. Let's try it. We'll try it all the ways. And whatever serves the song and whatever feels best in that moment is what's going to win. It doesn't matter who did it. You know what I mean? Right. There are those virtuosos that credit, you know what I mean? And some of them deserve it. Some of them fucking don't. You know what I mean?
Some of them definitely don't.
Some of them definitely don't. But yeah, it's just so cool, because I've known you for 15 years at least, Oh, we've played bands, probably 20 almost.
I'm going to say 20 to 25, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but I was just a little kid, man, when I came.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
But it's neat that so you obviously got involved in the Nardcore stuff, and you've been a big champion of Nardcore, my whole life. I always joke and call John C. the Prince of Nardcore, but I would assume you're like the sergeant at arms of Nardcore.
Yeah, maybe I'm the historian.
Yeah,
I got some ancillary job, because Tony's the king.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and John could be the prince. I'll give that to him.
It really just pisses him off. So
it does. It pisses me off too. Like, Zach and them call me, the legend and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like John, like we did on KSSR, and John got labeled the legend on Legend Steve, all that stuff. But
for sure, man.
Yeah,
that's funny stuff.
So I started championing that because I thought that our scene was super important.
It is important,
and it didn't get the respect I felt that other scenes do. Now, okay, we don't have fucking Black Flag or Souls of Distortion or whatever, but Ill Repute, Dr. No, like there's bands that owe what they do, everything that they do because of those bands, like No Effects, for example. Okay, they Ill Repute was like their catalyst to being what they became.
Yeah.
In RKL and like all those bands, but this scene fostered that creativity that they had, and then they went on and did all these other things, and like starting Fat Records and like all the bands that then were catapulted off the success of that label, and Good Riddance and whatever, Propaganda and everybody else that was on Fat at one time or another.
So when do you think Nardcore really like started getting the notoriety it actually deserved? Did you see an actual shift where people were like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
I don't know,
because you've been in it all the generations essentially at this point, like.
Yeah, I don't know that it ever has.
No, you don't think so?
Gotten the same notoriety that other scenes do, and although there's like these smidge, not smidge, micro interactions that I've had over the years that I go, see, fucking, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, when I was talking to Larry, we did a pod with Larry a while ago.
Yeah. Which was
he was telling me like how, they're in the middle of fucking Europe in like Slovenia or wherever the fuck they are, and there's dudes that have every single record he's ever put out, and these guys have been following Nardcore for 30 plus years, and you know what I mean, and are so stoked. So we may not see it because we're here, and Nardcore is a common term.
Yeah.
But when you get out into the world, like I've been all over the country, and there wasn't one single time where I told people we were from Ventura, Oxnard. They're like, "Oh, fucking Ill Repute!" Like every single one of them. You know what I mean? Like, and there wasn't anyone that was like, especially involved in like punk rock and heavy metal, that didn't know who Dr. No was, didn't know who Ill Repute was, or didn't know who, you know, Stalin was, or Aggression, or all these bands, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's really traveled, but I wondered, I mean, with all the comps that have come out, you know, and you, or what is it? I heard you talking about it. What is this one, like the fourth or fifth? The fourth, like
this is 4.
Nardcore compilation, and every band on it is a killer. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man. I listened to the whole record. I was like, dude, this is taking me back to like the '90s when there was a billion comps coming out all the time. You know what I mean? But it was always like, you know, a ska comp, or a this is the hardcore comp, or this is the blah blah blah. Like, for Oxnard to have 4 generations of fucking bands that are still holding it down, like in a specific town of what, 200,000 people combined. I mean, if that
between Oxnard and Ventura,
you know what I mean? If fucking that, like, it's crazy. Ventura and Oxnard has always had such a magical little scene. I don't know if it's because of the water or what. I don't know. It's just weird, man. It's a trip, man.
Yeah, I think we just kept those things going. Like, you know, LA has its pluses, but there's a whole lot of minuses there, with, you know, tons and tons and tons of people. So friendships and relationships don't last as long as ours can. You know, there's always
pockets. Yeah,
there's always outliers in pockets in that, but you know what I'm saying? It's like people just, you know, okay, well, this whole family just took off and moved somewhere else, and now they're in wherever they went, you know, South Orange County, which isn't really that far. But when you're a fucking 15-year-old kid and you're in, you know, your friend that lived next door to you
is now an hour and a half car ride
in Chatsworth now is now in Downey, like, it might as well be on the other side of the planet, you know.
So long, buddy. Yeah, especially in the age of no internet, and you know, having to actually pay for phone calls, all that shit.
But the other thing about LA is that there's a whole lot of dog-eat-dog stuff there, and I think that we had the fortune of having bands set an example for us of how to treat each other. You know, especially with Tony and Ill Repute and you know, Dr. Noah, like all those guys. You know, some of them are, you know, can be difficult at times, but you know, that's just interpersonal relationships with people. But for the most part, bands helped each other out.
Right. There's a lot of torchbearers in this scene.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And so that just, you know, what, you know, I consider myself second generation, really, because I was too young for those early, even though I was listening to stuff, I wasn't really going to shows and stuff until 85 or so, you know, so, but where was I going with that? Yeah. So we just took those examples that were given to us and just kept doing that. And then that's what I tried to, you know, in the mid 90s with, you know, you know, Todd and Caesar and like all the Ventura kids, and then Zach and Todd, you know, Todd Jones and like all the Oxnard kids. Like, I just tried to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
and it seems like, you know, I know that there's always, you know, we talked about it. Actually, you came by my house yesterday. It was really nice to see you actually in person, to drop off the
t-shirts, the tank tops,
and you kind of brought something to my attention, which I had no idea of, that there was an actual little bit of tension between Ventura and Oxnard back in the day, which I grew up kind of just loving all of them, you know what I mean? Like, I really had I had a pretty negative view of the tough guy hardcore scene back then, you know what I mean? Because it was violent, and it seemed to go against a lot of the traditional, like, punk rock values that I grew up with people. It was gang violence at that, you know, at a certain time. I'm not going to say in Oxnard it was, but that type of music became very gang mentality.
Some of it did, for sure.
You know, it was a huge turnoff to me. And so when shows started to, like, happen, that you needed to hire extra security because there was going to be a fucking problem, and, you know, guys, you can't get in the pit because you're going to get karate kicked in the fucking head. It turned me off, you know what I mean? It really did, because I was there for the music, there to have a good time. I'm not there to fucking, I don't want to fist fight someone there. If I want to fist fight, I'd go to a metal show or something. You
Yeah, I think the karate stuff is different from the tough guy stuff. Although the scenes sometimes overlap, but some of that stuff was not. You know, it's just you could get just as hurt in a slam pit. I mean, it's no different
Yeah.
to me. But I totally recognize what you're saying. Yeah. So there was this tension. There were certain people that didn't exactly help the situation.
Sure.
On both sides of
I'm sure.
both sides of the river, because we got the river between us.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. The glorious Ventura River.
And some people's dishonesty of who they projected themselves to be too.
Right.
So, and got a lot of people to believe in their way
version of it. Yeah.
Their version of it, and then sort of what do you call it? Sort of maneuvered kids to then carry on with that.
Right.
So when I came along, and like I started really hanging out with the Ventura kids about 95, I guess, because that's when I moved into Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really 96. That's all I wanted to try to do was like, hey, this,
let's bridge the gap. You know what I mean?
Let's bridge this gap together.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to play with all of those bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Burning Dog would play with fucking anybody. We didn't care because we got metal songs and we got hardcore, heavy step songs, and we got fucking sloppy, fucking cheesy punk songs. I mean, they're all cheesy punk songs, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure, man.
We played everything just because, John would write a riff, and I go, dude, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
He's all, you sure we can use this? It's like this metal thing. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, it's always been cool because there are always those bands. I mean, there's something to be said for sticking in your lane and really mastering the craft of the style of music you want to be in. Like, and that's cool, But I don't, my bands have all been obviously heavy most of the time. You know what I mean? Right. Heavy music is something I like, but whether it was stoner or fucking speed metal or straight punk rock or like sludge and doom or whatever, I didn't give a fuck about playing with only those bands. I wanted to play with everybody. And that's what I didn't understand about the little bit of the divide and the split was, there was times where my old band Ox would play with Retaliate and like Ill Repute, and we were like a straight like ISIS ripoff Neurosis band, you know what I mean? Yeah. But we liked everyone. We wanted to play, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that whole mentality never made sense. Like these lines in the sand that you don't cross genres and this and that. And that's when it started getting goofy for me. And I thought, okay, I'm over it, dude. I don't need to go to an 8-band bill where everyone's karate kicking each other. Right. And I also don't need to go to an 8-band bill where everyone smells like shit and is fucking, you know what I mean, puking on the fucking floor. I just don't need, I'd like to see a mix of everybody. And I think that's what Ventura and Oxnard was really, really like good at doing. We, for the niches that were around, everyone still kind of fucking played together,
About 2005, like all that shit, all the subgenre shit. I mean, bands still have their, they sound like this band, they sound like this band, but like the scene kind of coalesced again. Yeah, it came back together.
What do you think that was like? I contribute that to a lot of lack of venues, essentially, right? I mean,
well, it's certainly lack of venue. Like what we had the Alpine, and I'm thinking mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
The Alpine.
Because that's like right when the Wrath started. So you had the Loft or the Alpine,
the Loft,
Skate Street, whatever it was called at that point.
Right.
And then
every
you had
now and
like some Ventura theater shows you can maybe get on. And then you had some random warehouse shows that were fucking ripping, back in the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Some illegal spots that were rad, but it was just, there wasn't, the Shack, obviously the Shack was pretty legendary. Shout out to Kenji, dude.
Yeah.
I love that
kid. I love that kid. He's not a kid anymore.
I always wondered if it seemed to be because at this point in those mid 2000s, there wasn't many options to play. There would be something that would spring up for a minute, and then it would get burnt out. But then everyone started kind of having to move into the bars, you know what I mean, after that.
Yeah.
And then after, once you're playing in bars, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say our generation, and I'm gonna throw you into that. The bar scene is the next logical step because we're not tapped in with all the kids anymore.
Right.
We're not like right now, like I don't know what fucking Civil Conflict is doing.
Right. Yeah.
Unless I go on their Instagram or whatever, and see what's happening, see whether they're gonna play or well, obviously nobody's fucking playing now with COVID, but you know what I'm saying. But I know what you're doing because John will send me a text or like whatever, so hey, we're playing Billios or whatever,
whatever
obviously gone, but you know what I'm saying. Like, so that's a generational thing that we just sort of distance ourselves, not on purpose, but just it's the inevitability of what happens.
Well, there was a point too where, I would love to see the kids come in. I mean, the last like round of kids that I was seeing was like the Doggins guys. Right. Those kids were coming out, and I was like, "Fuck, man, these kids that are going to continue on this tradition. That's rad." Because, like you said, being torchbearers, it's up to us to kind of help journey the next generation of kids in. But at a certain point, when you're playing in bars and stuff, it's like, well, okay, now it's not our scene anymore. Now it's up to the fucking kids to figure out how to do their own generator shows. It's up to the kids to figure out how to steal power from a warehouse or do a show in a field.
And they're doing it. And they do fucking...
Yeah, and they are,
Perkins shows or skate parks or fucking whatever. Imagine if we had skate parks when we were kids.
I know. Amazing. Yeah. We could have had some epic shows back then.
But I think the other thing there is, Napster and, Angel Fire and like shit like that allowed kids to download all that other shit that MySpace even, like sharing music was a whole lot easier. And like, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to Retaliate because they're those kickboxing fools or whatever, right? And then you go, well, okay, so secretly I'm going to download this record and take a listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, this is fucking good.
It's good.
Like, I like this, right? Yeah. So you know what I'm saying, and so opinions start to slowly change, and I think that technology change in the mid 2000s is really another piece of that catalyst of why everything kind of got back together.
That's a good point. I didn't think about how easy the access became to get bands and hear different types of music, and especially like when you're young, dude. You're such a moron. I mean, you everything's so black and white, and I only like this, and if it's not this, it's dog shit. You know what I mean? I spent years working in a record store telling people I hated David Bowie just to piss them off. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking love David Bowie. You know what I mean? I still hate the fucking Smiths, but I love fucking David Bowie. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But but I just you're just such an asshole. Like when you're a teenager, it's what it is. Even in your early 20s, it's like. You live to be in your little niche, and it's important to you, and it's hard to get out. And then now, as I've gotten older, all of like my punk rock guilt and all of my punk rock like ethos that I held on to so dearly, I realize is like, it's just your ego shit, dude. Like that's it. Or your jealousy. You know what I mean? You don't like Retaliate because they're killing it. You know what I mean? Like, and your band's fucking fighting for a spot to open at a show that you didn't even want to play. You know what I mean? Like, and that I didn't have a lot of real jealousy, I don't think, back then, but it's when I look back on certain times, you go, well, you're kind of an idiot. You know what I mean? I just look back and think, because I've always really wanted to keep the scene going. It was important to me, but there are people that get hung up in their own little fucking world, and that's all they're going to live in, you know what I mean, the rest of their lives. And that's fine for some people, but not for me, man, especially after you have kids and you get out into the real world and you experience life a little bit, man. That black and white just goes gray now.
I just enjoyed being part of the scene, right? And then being able to play shows and being there, from early on, like in the 80s. I didn't start in my first band till 88. So, and that's only because the band was called Dignity.
Okay.
And that was only because the singer of the band, the singer guitarist, He died. He drowned. His air, he had air tank things and his mixture was fucked up or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And he just passed out.
Damn.
And then drowned because his air finally ran out, and then he died. That was 88. So I joined that band because they had some shows, and they knew I played guitar because I was this roadie kid for all these other bands. My Davi's bands, specifically, but like I roadied for Aggression or whoever needed somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Because I knew how to set gear up and do all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they knew that I was trustworthy with it. I wasn't gonna fucking
drop
the fucking Oh shit, tubes! I didn't know what those are.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, and that was kind of like we did Minor Threat covers and Uniform Choice covers and shit like that. All these straight edge songs, and I was not straight edge. They were, but I wasn't.
You weren't?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
No, I didn't. I was I drank a lot and did some other activities.
Other copious amounts of activities.
Yeah. I didn't get clean until 96.
Okay, really? Because I've only known you as being sober dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, being sober dude. Yeah.
It would have been probably late 90s when I met you or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when were you in Officer Negative?
I wasn't ever in that band.
I thought you were actually in the band.
No,
that's right. But you were associated with him because you were in the band with Todd or Casey or something, right? Yeah.
Casey was in it, and I grew up like going to the church thing, but it was all based in playing punk rock for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you start getting into the real parts of religion, it becomes a real bummer. You know what I mean? So, I spent a lot of years walking away from that shit, and it took me a long time to shake a lot of that weird stuff. But
there's a lot of, especially lately,
Oh, and like growing up Catholic too, the shit gets beat into your fucking soul, But so I was kind of a hang around with same like you would do, I'd roadie or whatever. But there was a certain point with those guys where, and I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but they all became too cool for school, and they started treating the people around them like shit a little bit. And I thought, I'm not a fucking punk, dude. So I'll be starting my own scene, essentially.
Yeah.
I started my own bands, and we were able much better, because I think my first couple bands were like religious, you know what I mean? But it wasn't overtly.
Right.
It was in lyrical content alone, and that was it. And I was always a firm believer that it's a personal thing.
Right.
I didn't like people that wanted to jump out and preach and go change people's cultures. And you know what I mean? It was really, for me, it was personal. It was what I sang about, but the music was heavy, and I think we were one of the first bands that could actually play with like a bunch of secular bands and then them not hate us because we didn't say shit.
Right.
We were just there to play, and it was a good time, you know what I mean? And
right.
It was weird to bridge that gap a little bit, but those old bands back then, they had an absolute fucking like agenda, and it was to try to get people to believe. And it just wasn't my thing, you know what I mean?
It bums me out if all the other kids were pushing that the same way that the singer, and we don't need to mention his name, but he was certainly full of shit. I mean, look at his life now. Fuck that guy. But
anyway, it feels like ancient history now. You know what I mean? But
it is.
It's weird though. It's something it's weird that it's something you think, not me personally, but like looking back at the situation, it's like, they were trying to do what they thought was right. You know what I mean? And
right.
And in their little scope of their world, they were doing what was right. It just made people hate it.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a whole weird thing. But I kind of left that shit right before I turned 17. I was in it from like 13 to 16 or something.
Right.
Kind of was like, I'm I gotta get the fuck out of here. I got some pussy, started asking questions that all ended with "you have to have faith," and I just went, "That's not good enough. It's not good enough for
what
me."
is it, George Michael song?
Yeah,
what?
exactly. Yeah, I'm good, man. And a lot of those values and stuff I took with me to be a good. I'm a fucking. I try to be a good person. I really, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's nothing wrong with the shit they're talking about. It's just the way you go about it.
If we all lived like Jesus lived,
yeah,
the whole world would be pretty awesome.
It'd be pretty amazing, yeah. But no, it doesn't.
But most Christians, and I'll throw Catholics into that, don't actually.
They're usually the furthest from
practice what they preach.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Bible verse that says, "Pull the plank out of your own eye before you go for the splinter in your brother's." You know what I mean? And it's like, I was like, have you guys ever read that? It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, it's, man, a lot of the religious stuff it's just, people that are lost looking for something to fill the hole. You know what I mean? Yeah. Luckily for me, punk rock and metal really filled it.
Right.
It really filled it in an actual fulfilling, positive way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of that old Christianity did as well. You know what I mean? I have lifelong friends that I love to death still that I'm still friends with. Most of them have left religion as well. But if you haven't, it's not my fucking business. It's a personal belief. You know what I mean? Believe what you want to believe. I got friends that think Satan is real. Like, okay, dude, congratulations. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's a weird world, but that whole genre back then was a weird crossover, and became problematic. You know what I mean? And it was, there was the non-secular guys that would show up to shows to start shit, and then the Christian guys would go over there to try to do something. I don't know, try to convert people or just basically stand their ground on their religion. And really all it is just chest pounding and from both sides,
From
that's
both
it.
sides.
It's an ego game. It's a big fucking ego game,
Yeah.
Real world, but
yeah. Were we talking about bands?
We were just talking about, that basically, you got into your first band, right? And then when did Burning Dog kind of
so Dignity basically evolved to become Burning Dog.
Oh, okay.
So the bass player at Dignity was Dave Bush, who Dave and I just basically stuck together. Then we got John to play with us because he was my best friend, so he started playing with us. And then we got the guy that played drums in Dignity still played drums for us for a time. And we had a different singer. This guy Floyd McKenzie. I don't know if you know Floyd.
I don't know.
He's been in a ton of bands. Great singer. And we were called Topless Green Onions.
Okay.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I got a history of long, terrible band names.
Yeah,
too.
it was like Red Hot Chili Peppers, but Topless Green Onions. But we were still just a punk band.
Yeah.
And then this other friend of ours, Dean, played guitar for a bit in there too. But Bill and I, the drummer, and I had a big fight, and I quit. And as I was coming home, like a amp on my skateboard and like pushing it down the street back to my house.
Yeah, all mad.
all mad. The bus, the scat bus pulled up, and Maury got off the bus.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, dude, perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
So
first, I need help carrying this amp. Second, do you want to be in a band with me?
Right. So I started a band with Maury, and then Dave and John like, well, we don't want to fucking play with Bill anymore either. Then we'll come play with you. So we started the band, but we didn't have a name. We wrote the song "Burning Dog." John wrote it about being in jail, and his girlfriend drama and stuff like that. But we had a show lined up, like our first show, and they hit us up like, okay, well, what's your band's name? And we're like, we don't have a band. We got a new song called Burning Dog. It's great. And the guy just put Burning Dog on the flyer, and then.
Oh, really? So you basically named your band.
That's how we became Burning Dog. That's so awesome, it was after the name.
Yeah.
And then in there during Burning Dog, I played Vermicious Knids was playing, and they had like Howie went to jail, so they needed a bass player, and I grew up with Dave and Jake Rhodes, so I joined Vermicious, and I played bass for them for a while. Burning Dog kept going.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I think it was you guys. So I went to a show at Wild Planet once. Yeah, it was, I think right around the time that Apathet comp was going to be coming out, and it was like you guys and 3 Point Play, and someone else, like at Wild Planet, which was this tiny record store in Ventura that was open for years and years.
Yeah, I think it was just 3 Point Play and us. But...
yeah, I think it maybe just was it. Yeah, and I remember just being like, dude, this is so fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because
that was like one of my first real tastes, like. Because I had heard, I don't know if Missy 23rd was around then yet, but
well, sure that was 97. That was 97. So they were definitely they might have been around. They might have been on one of the hiatus times.
Yeah. So, but I remember hearing that.
It's hard to say.
Like that, and I've said it 1,000 times. Like if you would have told me at 16 years old I'd be in a band with John C. Missing 23rd, who would be playing drums? I mean, I'd be like, there's no fucking way. Why would that ever happen? You know what I mean? But it did happen, and it was awesome.
Right.
But,
2 bands with them playing drums.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But
that was July 1st, 97. That show at Wild Planet. That was our record release show.
That's what it was. Okay, I knew there was a reason for it. Yeah.
And we hit 3 Point Play to play because I knew Dave. I mean, I knew Sean and the other guys too a little bit, but I was really good friends. Well, I don't know, really good friends with Dave, but I like.
Can anyone be really good friends with Dave?
Yeah. Well, because I met Dave through Mitchie, if you remember Mitch.
Mitchell P. Yep.
MPC.
Yep.
So I met Dave through Mitch, and then we became buddies and whatever.
Yeah.
Like he tells me the first song he ever learned was a Burning Dog song.
Nice.
So
that's rad, man.
So
that was good times back then, man. I mean,
you have me to blame for Kenji and everything else, I guess, or whatever.
Well, thank God you're here, man, because Kenji rules. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, Burning Dog went on for a long time.
I'm not really taking credit for that either. I was just joking, but.
I'm sure they're gonna hold you to the fire over that one.
I'm gonna go text from Carter.
Yeah, hey bro. So Burning Dog, I remember went on for a long time, right? And then you I know this. We're talking about years between gaps, but you spent a lot of years out of the country. You know what I mean? Like living in Italy and traveling around and stuff like that, right?
That's a recent development. Well, recent.
Yeah.
We came home in 2018. We were in Italy for 3 years from 2015 to 2018. My wife just, she worked for the federal government, and we got it in her job allowed her to take a job on a Navy base in Naples, Italy, and so we flew out there, and that was a rad experience to be able to.
How did you feel like
to live abroad is amazing.
Yeah. I remember hearing like, "Oh, Joe's moving to Italy." I was like, "What? What the hell? Why? Like, what happened? Dude? And find what happened? You know what I mean?" And then I remember talking to you and stuff. But what was the difference? Like, I know nothing really in Ventura changes, but did you see a big difference when you came back from Italy, like with what was happening in the scene and stuff like that?
Well,
obviously, besides Corona and all the world shutting down.
When we came back in 2018, with the internet, it's not like we were dark on things. We saw what was going on. Like I watched the fire stuff. Like going, holy fuck, this is insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys are gone for the fires, huh?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're here for Woolsey, but it didn't come into Ventura. But but coming home, like the scene, like I was saying, like all the bands, like sort of merged together. Like everybody seemed to be on the same wavelength and helping each other. And there's a band that's got a little bit of wrath in them and a little bit of retaliate them, and they're doing this thing merged together. Like, that's fucking rad.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool to see a little bit of
yeah.
Because like what I noticed is that obviously the Obama years, it seemed that like the scene was starting to die off and kids weren't starting bands and this and that. But as soon as that fucking orange motherfucker got elected, dude, I've always said bad politics makes great music. I mean, look at Reagan, fucking all that shit. All this shit was springing off of turmoil and bad politics. But as soon as that guy got, like, all of a sudden I'm starting to see, I'm hearing about kids doing house shows again. I'm hearing about, you know, and then I'd go to a show at the Hong Kong Game and there'd be 200 plus fucking kids in the parking lot that I'd never seen in my entire life. You know what I mean? So it was beautiful. Really awesome. It was like right before Corona happened, the scene seemed to be thriving, like at an all-time high with new music, new bands, you know, all kinds of stuff coming out. It was really cool to see, you know?
Well, that's what that record behind you represents. You know, Zach Stu and Andrew Hester, and Dave Mandel from Indecision Records, like they really wanted to capture 2019 on a record, because there was so much going on. Like everybody was doing something, you know, and there were shows, multiple shows every weekend, you know, bar shows, and
the point where you had to make a choice again. It was cool.
Bar shows and all ages shows, and you know, and you know, okay, East End, West End, in Oxnard, South Side, you know, like all over the place. So and everybody seemed to be helping each other. And that's what that record represents, is all those bands, I think, you know. Plus we got a new Ill Repute song out of it.
I know,
too,
man.
So.
And it's a ripper too.
It's so good.
A ripper, it's so cool. What do we wait 30 something years for it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two new songs on the 30th anniversary, the 2009 record too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because you guys, the Wrath's got a song on that too.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I'm so proud to be involved in any way, shape, or form, because we've never, I mean, besides the John connection, I never really considered myself a Nardcore band, you know what I mean? But but
you know,
it's cool to be involved in that type of shit at all.
You're in the vicinity, so
yeah.
Just embrace it. You know, like I've always tried to, like, how do I explain this? Like like bring Seth and you know, like anything that he's doing, all the bands that he's been involved
Sweet
with.
Reaper,
Like, you know, especially Messenger, because you know, like I think they belong in the fold too.
Absolutely.
In one way or another, because they're part of who we are, you know, and they're great people. And their songs are great, you know, because what was Seth's old band, Franklin, right?
Yeah, Franklin for short. Yeah,
you know, what a fantastic band that was.
They're just that dude is such a machine, dude. I've known him since the age. He's one of my only friends that's went through the Horizon Generation stuff with me.
Right. Oh, that's right.
We've maintained friendship the whole time. You know what I mean? And since feels almost exactly the same way I do about it. But you know, he was involved in like a you know, the emo scene back then, essentially. But I mean, those guys are so fucking talented, it's ridiculous, you know. But even like the Wrath's last show was us, Messenger, and Catholic Spit, and the reason was because they were my favorite bands, and that's who I wanted to fucking spend my last show with, my favorite band that I've ever been in. Playing with. I wanted to play with my favorite bands, not the bands that fit the bill. I could have brought big bands from LA, you know what I mean, or someone that would fit the genre, but it's not what Ventura's about. I don't think it's about cohesion. It's about fucking, no matter what the genre is. I had it's a death rock band, and like basically like, I don't know what the fuck you would have called Messenger, like Fugazi plus. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know, but
the evolution of what Fugazi would have been.
You know what I mean? Like. But that's who I wanted to share the stage with on my last Wrath show. You know what I mean? Was my fucking friends that I really, really thought. I thought those two bands at the time were the best bands in Ventura County.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what I wanted to do. You know, and that goes with basically the culture that Nardcore has created. You know, is where everyone, no matter what it is, you kind of get included. You know.
Right. Well, in my opinion, they should be, as long as they're not, you know, sexist, racist, homophobic assholes, then fucking hang out, you know?
Right, exactly.
You know, like this Colo Boy push that all the hardcore kids have. Like, He doesn't
dude, it's awesome.
He doesn't fit into the music genre,
Not
but
at all.
he fits into us. I mean, he came to he's been part of the scene anyway, coming to the show.
What was what band was he in? Something about AIDS, right? What was it? What was
full blown AIDS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good, man.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
the Cola Boy stuff is killer, you know.
Dude, it's so good. You know? It's so
funny.
nice to put something on that's not, you know, pure hardcore all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like because it gets, you know, like my ears need rest on occasion.
Oh yeah, you can't. I can, you know, I listen to a lot more mellow shit these days. But even like, you know, it's so cool to see how even Oxnard, like, look at Anderson .Paak, all these, you know, Cola Boy. You know, there's like some serious fucking heavy hitters that are making waves in the mainstream world that, you know, that give a nod to Nardcore, that know what it is, understand the history, and they're about fucking bringing it. You know what I mean? And that's cool, you know.
Right, and then we got like the, you know, the reggae scene, like you know, I don't know that Raging Arb is pure reggae, but you know what, like that sort of rock reggae kind of thing that they did, you know. Dirty Rice and like so we've got that history stuff, and I think that should be encompassed into it as well.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it should be. Yeah.
Even Big Bad Voodoo Daddy at you know has its place, because Scotty's got those hardcore roots himself.
Yes, he does.
You know.
False Confessions, right? Wasn't he in False Confessions? Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. No, not a lot of people know that, but the singer of Big Bad Voodoo Daddy was in a straight up hardcore band in Oxnard.
Well, if you're from Ventura County, you should know that. If you don't, well, now you're being educated. So
know, I work with his brother Joe, right?
Oh, do you?
Yeah, Joe's like one of my partners that I work with.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every day, yeah.
I haven't seen Joe since the Anacapa went down, so.
Right. Yeah, dude. I talk to him daily. It's awesome.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool connection, because he was actually my instructor when I went through the apprenticeship for the local 12.
Yeah.
And like he knew I was into punk rock. He's like, "Oh, you ever heard of False Confessions?" I was like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "You know, that's my brother Scott, right?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know that, man." He's a singer for Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I'm like, "Oh shit, really?" You know, I didn't know until years ago, you know, that he told me. But we talk all the time. He got me into mountain biking and stuff, dude. He's really nice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've seen that's something else I've seen you doing, just trying to ride your bike a bunch.
Yeah, I gotta do something, man, because obviously you're never playing shows again. You know,
it's gonna happen again.
You think so? I was gonna ask, what do you think? Like, obviously, Corona. You guys get back. You know, 2018. You spend a nice, good year getting back to normal, and then the world.
Yeah, year and a half,
right?
2 years. Yeah.
Now, Out of Trust, obviously, your newest band isn't playing any shows. You guys are jamming and stuff. But what have you been doing besides, I guess, the podcast and stuff to kind of help you stay not out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. You know, I'm fortunate that I get to work from home, so I haven't had to deal with, you know, losing my job or for the financial jeopardy. Same with my girl. You know, she works for NASA and I work for a federal contractor. So both of us are doing okay. As far as that goes. So 99% of the time I'm here at the house, you know, like I try to get up and like, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to go walk, or I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I haven't done shit unless somebody calls me and says, "Hey, let's go for a walk." And then let's go. And then I'll just take off work and go do that, and then come home and work more or whatever, you know.
Have you hit
to get my 8 hours in?
I hit a huge creative slump, dude. Like, as soon as it went down.
Yeah,
I couldn't pick up my guitar to save my life, man. Like, you know, that's why I kind of got the podcast going and stuff. I was like, I got to do something that's just
something
different and new. You know, because I was really thinking, like, dude, we fucking, you know, there was times where I walked away from playing music on my own accord because I had responsibilities and family and wanted to make sure I was going to be a good dad and all these things. But the thought of never, like, not being able to play music again had never crossed my fucking mind, you know?
Right.
And so I started to freak out a little bit, like, after about a month, thinking, like, dude, I might never, ever fucking play it. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm not as naive to think it'll never happen again, but, you know, it might be a fucking year, 2 years before anyone's doing anything again.
Yeah, I'm going to say that late summer next year, we'll be back playing shows.
I think so.
Shows in a normal sense, going to a
Right.
club and that kind of thing. I think it's going to take about that much time.
Yeah.
I might be naively optimistic on that, but that's just
I
the
don't know.
feeling.
I feel like it'd be about then, I don't know though.
Yeah.
But even though you think about it, I mean, Ventura is on the local level, it's going to be easy. You can get a bar show, you can do these things. When you start thinking about the large scale venues and everyone's been pushing their shows off and I mean, I think realistically, before you get to a really good show that you want to, you're probably talking late 2021, by the time everyone's done fighting over dates,
Right. Well, again, locally, I don't think for local shows, I think it's going to happen quicker than
the mainstream
getting on a theater show or something like that.
Right. Well, it's always the local shit's always about 2 years ahead of everyone else.
Right.
What I mean? The underground scene or whatever. You can do it. You could probably safely do a bar show with 50 people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than a arena fucking show with 20,000.
Right. What's the Scandia bar?
The garage.
The garage. Right. That's 50 people there. You feel great.
That's
shit,
yeah.
50
but
people.
Also, I mean, I wonder too how many of these places are going to last. Being 6, 7, 8 months of shutdown. You know what I mean?
Look,
you're going to start losing a lot of places.
The Hong Kong is gone. The Discovery is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery's gone because the guy was a fucking cheat and robbed a bunch of people and stuff. Apparently.
Yeah, I didn't hear good things about it.
No.
Too bad. What a good setup, man. That
yeah.
Had a great setup.
Yeah, the sound was a little wonky, but that's a personal thing because it had a bass thing that rumbled that I hated.
Oh, you're not a big fan of sub bass?
Yeah, well, I mean, because I just adjusted those the crossovers to not, from the reggae night or the hip hop night, adjusted them for us for a rock show, and it wouldn't have sounded bad. But they were those were all that shit was under the stage, so you had to climb underneath the stage to get to that stuff. Who wants to fucking do that? So
right.
Spiders, cool, yeah, awesome. Black Widows.
Spiders.
I'm definitely afraid of spiders. So
are you really?
So I'm not doing it for sure. Oh yeah.
You're really afraid of spiders?
Oh dude, I fucking freak out.
Any spiders?
I mean, daddy long legs and stuff like that. I'm okay with,
But if it looks widowy, you're out, huh?
Oh, dude, we got widows
is there
here.
Some past trauma that what's happening?
No.
Yeah. Just an unreasonable fear.
Yeah, it just is. I'm afraid of heights too. Man. I'm all fucked up, man.
49 years old, you're still fucking afraid of spiders.
Yeah, it's dumb. But yeah. What else, man?
Nothing, man. I'm glad to catch up with you and chat. And so obviously the world shut down. What else is going on? Trumpito has been fucking been killing it. Obviously, what do you think? How do you think this election's gonna go? That's what I want to know, actually. Because you've always stayed pretty politically, informed as far as it goes.
Yeah. I really hope it goes that he's gone, but with this post office shit, with all these other things that are, what do you call it? He's talking about contesting whatever election results and like all that stuff. And like how many people does he really have behind him? I mean, that's really when we'll find out.
Oh yeah.
Joe's,
how do you feel about Biden and Kamala Harris?
Yeah. Well, mixed feelings, I was hoping for, an older Brooklyn guy, but that didn't happen. And whatever running mate that he ended up choosing, Sure. But
have you seen that meme that's been going around?
With AOC. Yeah. The wish thing. Yeah.
Like Bernie and AOC, and then it's like what you ordered, and there's the wish logo, and then it's what you got with Biden and Kamala under it. Oh fuck.
AOC isn't old enough anyway, so
no, 100%.
She will be for 2024, but not this one. And Bernie will be what, 90?
180. Yeah, 108 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, I've always said that Trump is definitely the fucking kid that when he's losing the chess game, well, checkers probably,
Yeah.
he fucking wipes the board. You know what I
it's
mean?
all checkers. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chess over there.
Chess is far too complex for him
Yeah.
to
I've
actually
always said
grasp.
I'll be shocked if he gets voted out and leaves. You know what I mean? That's my biggest fear.
I mean, we'll see what happens if the establishment backs him on his. I mean, at that point, then it's a a totalitarian takeover, right? Or whatever the proper word is. But we'll see what happens. Fucking Mussolini or some shit.
I don't know. I've been stockpiling water and bullets and fucking.
I just wanted to throw out. You said during Obama that the political things were like there was a bunch of shitty shit that happened under Obama too. So there's there was still plenty of fire that we could have pointed at. We had Occupy and we had a few standing rock and like there were a few things that did happen that we hated what Obama was doing, drone strikes and all that shit,
he's killed more fucking civilians with drone strikes than almost any fucking war combined in history, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of bad shit you could say about him. But what he was good at was at least unifying people. You know what I mean? In some sort of way.
Most people.
Most people. I mean, there's a reason that Trump's elected, obviously, and that was the backlash to Obama, But, I think at least when he spoke, he gave the general appearance that he was trying to unify people, whereas this fucking guy just has zero interest in it. You know what I mean? It's all him and his followers, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's a big fucking media blitz. That's it. At
least you could get through an Obama press conference without fucking total bumbling and nonsense and 100% lies. Maybe there were some lies going on there, or at least
some lies with Obama,
or at least some deceptions of truth, or glossing over the important details and stuff like that. Well, you just don't need to know the shit, so we're not going to tell you, kind of stuff, Yeah. But see, that's the difference between liberals and conservatives, or at least what they're really not conservatives. They're Republicans now. That's not conservatism that they're practicing, but that
it's definitely not traditional Republicans.
Yeah, and we're not really traditional liberals anymore either. But for layman's sake, we'll just use those terms. Liberals are critical of their own leaders. We can point. No, that shit was fucking wrong, dude.
Mm-hmm.
These drone strikes are wrong. Chelsea Manning stuff was wrong. This is wrong. WikiLeaks, all of these
Edward
things that
Snowden,
were
dude.
Edward
Snowden,
like
you know what I mean?
like all that stuff was wrong. Even if it was a continuation of Bush policy, Patriot Act, like all of those things we can point out, and you're still allowing that to happen. But you'll never see Republicans doing the same thing, but critiquing like this post office debacle that's going on right now. Why are the Republicans saying, "Stop this"? Stop this.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know how you could have an open standing president admit on national television that he's sabotaging the post office to help his own election. I don't know how that's not absolute cause for this is fucking bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at least back in the past, everyone tried to hold the tradition of okay, elections are sacred.
Yeah.
For as much as whatever it's worth. You know what I mean? They've all cheated elections, both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for someone to stand there, admit openly, and then everyone be like, yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, you guys have lost all track of what fucking real democracy is.
Yeah.
And then now the only argument I hear is like, this isn't a fucking democracy. This is a republic. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what, dude? Okay.
This is a republic?
Yeah, that's the new, the argument is that we are a republic. We're not a fucking democracy. It's like, well, when was that? You know what I mean? Like, yes, it was the Republic of the United States of America back in the day, but it's so fucking asinine to me, man. I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens. Like I said, I'm bullets, water, food. Come find me. I don't know. I'm hoping I just don't have to pay rent here pretty soon after November.
Right?
We'll be just surviving.
Right.
That's like what I feel I was made for. You know what I mean? At least. Yeah. Anyway, well, man, I think we covered a lot, bro. It was awesome to have you on.
Thanks, dude.
Let's see what else. What do you got? Out of Trust right now. You guys were writing and recording. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we released a new EP in like May 1st, I think it was. So 5-song EP.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new song called Nard Song that's on there that we had everybody else sing. Like I just sing the chorus. And then Zach sings a piece, John C sings a piece. I wanted to get you in there, but then COVID and like, well, we'll just take what we got. So that song, we were really stoked on how well that came out, and I made a shitty video for that.
Is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Find it on YouTube or something.
On YouTube, just my channel's Burning Joe.
Okay.
So Burning Dog, but Burning Joe, and it's run together. There's no space or hyphen or anything.
Cool.
So Burning Joe, and I got all kinds of stuff on there, all kinds of old shows and stuff too. Not just Burning Dog, but like all kind, all sorts of stuff.
I mean that you sent me a Dropbox link the other day with like
so
many fucking old bands, even in my old bands that I hadn't heard in years. You know what I mean? I listened to a couple tracks last night. I was tripping out, dude. I mean, 15 years old on that Apathat comp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's cool.
So you did end up listening to it last night?
Yeah, I listened. Yeah, me and John listened to some stuff, and went into Kenji and some of just those old tunes. So if you have anywhere close to some of that stuff on YouTube, that's a cool thing to check out.
Yeah, we had Burning Dog had a song on there, and then I was in that band 7 Day War.
That's right.
So we had a song on there too.
That was a cool comp, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
To be involved.
Was that like 99 that came out?
Yeah, it would have been. It was pre-2000, but right around there.
Yeah, that was fun.
Right. And then besides that, I guess we can catch you not co-hosting but guest hosting on 185 Miles South, huh?
Yeah, whatever my role is there. I love Zach, and we have a lot of fun talking shit, and lately we've been doing these like our favorite records things.
Yeah, I just started listening to the Build Your Own Hardcore Band.
Oh, build the band. I think I got the best band.
I haven't got through it yet, but I can't wait to hear it. Yeah,
because I got Bill Stevenson on drums. So
it's already a win.
Fuck everybody else.
Right. For sure, man. No, it's cool, man.
Although those guys are some pretty amazing drummers too. So I'm but yeah, so that's fun.
All right.
And that's 185 miles south. And I'm stoked that you guys are doing this. I've been watching them on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Because that's just the easiest way for me to do it. Because
I like the video element now, man. I've been I was saying before that this Zoom thing was like an unacceptable form of podcasting for a long time, because it's always better to be in a room with someone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. But now that you can't, it's like, this is it. And it works out pretty good, because now we can do the video element and make it really fucking easy,
Right. And the sound quality is pretty good. Everything that you've done has sounded pretty well.
Yeah, it's
so,
not bad,
I just have this. I just have this fancy mic and stuff, so I don't know how this will end up sounding, because this is what I do. I have a stand-up desk. That's what I'm.
Oh, you're standing? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
I try to sit only during the day, and then when I do the podcast, I stand, because it's just easier. Because I pace and walk around, and I move my hands, and if I'm sitting down,
I'm always talking like this, like Will Ferrell when he Talladega Nights. I always see my hands going like this.
Yeah, and if I'm sitting, like the chair will make too much noise, and my wife's like, "Shut up."
Well, I'd love to watch you get yelled at by your wife on a podcast. Anyway, well, Joe, I could
arrange that. You love it too, buddy.
This is awesome, man. All right, guys. So, you guys can please follow us on any major podcast format. Like, rate, review, comment, all that shit. Also, check out our Patreon page. We got some pretty cool, epic bonus episodes coming at you. Early access. Exclusive merchandise if you sign up for the higher tiers, and basically a chance to be on the podcast for the bonus episodes. So check out patreon.com/getheavypodcast. And then check out our new merchandise at getheavypodcast.bigcartel.com, designed by Casey Howard. Bad motherfucker. Cool double-sided shirts. The pre-sale will be going till the end of August. We'll start shipping shirts probably around September 1st. But love you guys, and we'll see you soon.